I think Ian Malcolm once said, "You spent too much time thinking about whether you could do something. You didn't stop and think about whether you should." And this is Mortal Kombat 2 on the Game Boy because obviously Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy was such a brilliant idea. They thought they were going to make a port of the sequel as well. Because look at all that money they would be leaving on the table if they didn't make a sequel to Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy. You can only imagine how many Game Boy owners were clamoring. You can only imagine how many Game Boy owners are just clamoring for a sequel to this game. A port of Mortal Kombat 2 on the Game Boy, just clamoring. We're going to start from the beginning. Yeah, we're going to start from the beginning. This is Mortal Kombat 2 on the Game Boy, obviously. I did play the original Mortal Kombat back in the day when it launched. Probe Software, the same Probe Software that worked on Alien 3 on the Super NES and the Genesis. They worked on Mortal Kombat on the Genesis. The only Mortal Kombat anyone seems to like. I mean, okay, the Sega CD version looked better, but it had the loading times when you were playing as Shang Tsung. Other than that, I guess Mortal Kombat on the Sega CD was the definitive version. I don't know. Well, let's just put it this. Let's pretend we're gonna play nice. We're gonna pretend that Mortal Kombat 2 is some brilliantly crafted video game that deserved a good port on a home console. And you could argue the Super Nintendo port was as good a port as you could have expected when it got launched. It's also somewhat infamous for being it is arguably the video game that probably salvaged the Super Nintendo as a console in the United States. Because there was a time when people were wondering, okay, if video games are going to become T-rated and we're not going to be allowed to make games like Mortal Kombat anymore, Nintendo was going to have to do something, right? They were in danger of losing everyone over the age of 12 if they didn't allow some blood and guts in their video games. I guess it was kind of inevitable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the obvious thing. I'll play as Shang Tsung, and I will then change my form to every other character I can select. As you saw on the character select screen, there are only 8 fighters in this game. It's kind of a mercy. It's a mercy killing because would you want to play as half these other guys? Like I played a lot of Baraka back in the day. Now, would you want to play as Baraka here on the Game Boy? Probably not. Of course, most of these characters are palette swaps anyway, so it's probably the easiest way to fit all these characters in there is to just palette swap. How do you do a palette swap with spinach green color palettes anyway? Well, at any rate, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna switch to Sung, so we're gonna use his flaming skulls, which are all what? Back, punch, back, forward. Okay. Remember, there are only 2 buttons. The start button is to block, B is to punch, A is to kick. Basically. Select is to pause. So back, B for the flaming skull. Back, forward B for 2 flaming skulls. Can I do 3? That didn't look good. I guess I kind of deserve that. Yeah, let's see. Back, forward, punch for 3 skulls. If you're feeling your oats, I guess. That's a 3-hit combo. And that's it. That's all Shang Tsung can do as far as special moves. Now, of course, he can also do all the fun stuff, like switching to other people. We'll get to that in a second. Let me explain a couple of things. Punch. But you have to press what? Down, forward punch for an uppercut, just so you know. Get over here. Okay. Why even bother? He has a fatality. We're never going to bother to do it. Apparently, you can do your fatalities from anywhere on the screen in this port, which is nice, I guess. Hold block, up, down, kick. Didn't even think about that. Ask me if I care about fatalities. I have fireballs too. Missed. I was trying to do 3 fireballs, not 2. I guess that's a throw. Whoop! Missed my anti-air. Maybe this is all I need to do to win. Why even bother switching to anyone else? We could do an air fireball. Didn't know we could do that. When did that happen? Got him. So he just ducks my uppercut and then does his own. Somehow that counts. You know what I love most about Mortal Kombat? You have to press a button to block. Because, you know, why would you just hold back? Why should holding back and not pressing a button give you automatic blocking ability? Why should it, like, be intuitive? Make active blocking. This is the only way to block in fighting games, I guess. Like Virtual Fighter 2. But then again, why even bother having a high punch and a low punch in a fighting game? Like, why does anyone care whether you punch high or low when you're standing? Like, why should that even be a thing? Okay, so, back, forward, forward, block. Have I ever played? Yeah, I have played Mortal Kombat before on this channel. Back, forward, forward, block for Liu Kang. Whoop! This is going to be hilariously fun. Switch to Liu Kang. Oh, jeez. It still says Shang. It still says Shang on the health bar on the top left-hand corner of the screen, but we know who's really fighting. So we'll switch to Liu Kang just to see what happens. And of course, when you switch to Liu Kang, it means you get all of his powers. Whoops. Oh, for crap. There he is. Ah! He got me. Forgot what that was, but he got me. No fair blocking. He can do low fireballs too, but it's kind of hard to pull off. When I switch back to Shang Tsung, we can slide too. That's not cool. Remember when everyone loved trying to find Reptile? I don't think anyone actually liked fighting as Reptile, I guess. I mean, he had a projectile and a slide, so I guess that helps. Okay, let's switch to somebody else. Sub-Zero is forward, down, forward, kick. That worked. Okay, so it's only a temporary transformation. So there's your other problem. It's also a temporary transformation. Katana is 3 blocks. Okay, so what can she do? Okay, that's easy. What can she do? So we got another 90s thong ninja. Hold back and press punch for a fan slice. Okay, it's like Baraka's knife. It's like Baraka's overhand swipe, basically. Okay, enough. Let's see. Fan throw is forward, forward, punch, and kick. There it is. Like, why would you play as Melina, I guess? Like, why would you play as Katana, now that I think about it? So she has a fan throw. Is that more effective than his regular fireballs? She also has a fan lift. It's an anti-air. Back, back, back punch. Okay. That's not it. I'm trying. It's not working. Back. Whoopsie. So I guess they included that in the game. So I can't do the fan lift. Yeah, I can't do the fan lift. Yeah, I can't do the fan lift. I don't. It was back. It was triple back punch, and it's not working. The air attack is rotate for, so it's a yoga. So it's a yoga punch, a reverse yoga punch. So her fan air attack is a yoga punch, where it's like she just kind of flies forward in the air, I guess, and does a punch. One of those stupid moves. There it is. Yeah, amazing. Just completely whiffed. Still can't do my fan throw. Yeah, still can't do my fan throw. Yeah, I still can't do my fan throw. Yeah, so back, back, forward, forward punch does 3 skulls. Okay, so I'm not going to use Katana anymore, but she's easy to switch to. But I can't do her fan lift. I think they simplified some of these controller rotations from the Super Nintendo game I played. Where's Shang Tsung? Let's see, can I back and switch to Reptile, right? Okay, Reptile is up, down, up, kick. Yeah, I'm going to have to hold block to pull that off, so it might not even be worth it. Melina. Hold punch for 3 seconds. Probably not going to be able to pull that off. Scorpion is just up, up. Okay, fine, it's easy. Up, up for Scorpion's easy. I'm going to have to hold block to do it. Not work. It's not registering. There, I did it. Get over here. Ah! I need to practice. Bear with me. Yeah, okay. So I gotta remember the button to press. Because I keep flipping out because I remember there are only 2 buttons. There are only 2 buttons I'm supposed to be using. I'm using 4 buttons on the Super Nintendo controller. So it's up, up for Scorpion. That did it. That did it. That! No fair jumping. Block in a fighting game? What are you, absurd? Haha. That! Okay, I don't know what just happened there, but might have accidentally switched to Shang Tsung. I might have accidentally switched to Liu Kang. That! That is hilarious, though. Like, this isn't even trying to be the arcade game, for being honest. Get over here! Okay, so where's my, I have a slide. What's my slide? Teleport punch is a down back. It's a reverse fireball. Oh, there's no slide? I thought, or was it Sub-Zero who had the slide? I thought Scorpion had the slide. Just a second. Nope, no slide. No, yeah, Sub-Zero has the slide. Yeah. I guess I thought Scorpion had a slide too. for crying out. Yeah, we're probably going to stop playing. Okay, here's what we're going to do. That was the medium difficulty. We're going to skip ahead. Screw this. They're only like, what, 6 continues? Which is amazing for a fighting game. It's like, I guess they sense their limitations. So how many can we add? 6, as many as it gets. So basically, don't screw up. That seems to be how you play this game. You're allowed a maximum of 6 continues, and that's it. There's only one background, as I recall. Up, up. Got over me. I guess pretend this was a balanced fighting game. Got over me. Can I just spam the sweep? That sounds like a good idea. Jax Briggs, no relation. I think he can slam like back and forth like 3 or 4 times, like a combo, right? Oh yeah, he has the earthquake. Maybe I should just do this. Like, why even complicate things? Just do this. I just spam fireballs like for Ryu or something. Like, why even complicate things at this point? Yeah, there's your 3-hit combo. Yeah, you got close. That's not fair. 2 fireballs is enough. Like, again, why even bother complicating things? Let's not pretend what kind of game this is. Let's not pretend this is a different kind of game than what it is. Well, they got 2 different backgrounds at least. That's good to know, I guess. Okay, you know, she got the anti-fireball move. She's gonna be a problem. That. I think everyone has the same jump height anyway. It just boils down to what special moves you can throw in there. Because the special moves are the only asymmetry most characters have. That. Again, at some point, they just shouldn't even have bothered making this game. At least for the Game Boy. It just raises too many ugly questions about why you're even bothering. Ugh. Got her. Whoops, I thought she was going to do that. Hey! No fair blocking. Yeah, she got me. She got me. Again, this is more like, this isn't even a distillation of a fighting game. It just feels like a game that it's better than the Tiger LCD version, but it just feels like a game that like it's like the Super Nintendo version of Mortal Kombat 1 at least had most of the essence of the game there, as far as like the controls were all there. This just feels like, this doesn't even feel like an approximation. It just feels like what the hell? It feels like a slideshow. Like, again, it's like, why even bother? Though apparently the Lynx version of Mortal Kombat, was it Mortal Kombat 2 or Mortal Kombat 1? Like, that was apparently legit. Or at least it was unfinished, but it was like, they were abusing the blitter on that screen to like get some really sick effects going. So that was cool. There's your fan lift. Good luck actually seeing the effect. Yes, I guess she did her fan lift. Because in the Super Nintendo version, you can see the energy waves. It's basically an anti-air that you can follow up with a combo if you know what you're doing. But, I mean, it's just whatever. Reptile's going to slide, so screw this guy. And he's going to jump, so whatever. That! Yeah, those sweep spams are always fun. Again, we're just gonna pretend. Again, we're gonna pretend that this was a balanced fighting game that's ruined by being ported to the Game Boy, as if that was the problem. Like even for Mortal Kombat's defenders, this was an indefensible port. You can't even approximate like even a fraction of what a cartridge port could bring to the arcade game. They said, you know what? There's too much freaking money on the table. You can't not make a portable version of Mortal Kombat. What's this game rated anyway? It's probably rated T. I'll double check. Because I mean it's in the console now, so I can't pull it out and find out. Hey, what was anyone expecting, really? Woohoo! Sweep spam. Yeah, couldn't get it. Ah, he came back. No fair. And again, and imagine playing this on a spinach green screen with lots of blur. Imagine how much fun that would be. No fair. Yeah, so he blocked high and he blocked my sweep. Sure. We'll allow that. Yeah, block a sweep by holding your fist in front of your face. I'm sure that works. Video games. I always thought those sweeps were always hilarious, though. Those sweeps and uppercuts were always hilarious. There's your 4-hit combo, kids. That's how Gramps used to do it back in the day. Good old sweep spam. But keep forgetting to block. Because, blocking's not intuitive in this game. You got to press a button when you're moving backwards. Unlike every other fighting game in existence, except for Virtua Fighter. We're not going to talk about that. Because Virtua Fighter is actually a good game. Whoopsie! Well, I beat Reptile. And again, what were you expecting the graphics to look like? I can't even tell. You can barely tell. I guess Shang Tsung's supposed to look like Charles Bronson. I don't know. Kind of hard to tell. I do have Scorpion, so I guess I could switch to him too. Or I can just do this. Remember, because if he's going to slide, we can teleport. You probably don't want to throw skulls. Because then he teleports behind you. What? He threw me out of a sweep. Is that supposed to happen? Even Chun-Li can't throw someone out of a sweep in Street Fighter 2. And that throw's like overpowered. And there are also air throws in this game. You don't have to worry about it. And we can't use Johnny Cage as a jump forward punch like Jeff Gerstmann was. Because I think that some of the patched versions broke that. So there is that. That was an air throw? I couldn't tell. The animation's so janky, I couldn't even tell he was throwing me. You take a lot of things for granted if you play a bunch of Street Fighter 2. You take a lot of things for granted. Get over here! Boop! Boop! Yeah, again, we don't want to risk it because he might just jump over us or do a slide. I think he jumped over my sweeps. That was fun. I think the Super Nintendo version said "come here" instead of "get over here," and I admit it was less cheesy. Like in a way, it felt punchier, if that makes sense. And I'm not going to sit here and defend the Super Nintendo port of this game. It's a terrible game. It's not just terrible because of the sweat. It's terrible because, as a fighting game, it's just kind of dumb. Like, too many palette swaps, basically. Everyone has the same... If you know Mortal Kombat, you know why I don't like it. Like, every character has the same moves. Like, the only asymmetry at all is in the special moves, really. Like, everyone has the same speed, the same jump height. Like all the variations you might be used to in like a Street Fighter game where like everyone has like idiosyncratic moves, everyone's a different speed. Zangief has a much bigger hitbox than the other characters do. E Honda has a much bigger hitbox than most of the characters. Like all the variations, like the idea that in the original Street Fighter 2, like almost every character was significantly different from each other. None of that was in Mortal Kombat. So if you learned how to play as one character, it made it easier to pick up other characters. But it also had the problem of making everyone too similar to each other. So there was less of an incentive to keep playing once you mastered one guy because everyone's pretty much the same. Yeah, got over me. Kind of knew that was going to happen. Okay, what just happened there? Was I not supposed to die, then I just fell over? What just happened? That, you got me. Whoopsie. Ah! Ah! Teleport. You got me. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to pull it off. Okay, so again, you got to see him do the teleport punch. But again, how much of this game do you need to see for me to convince you that this is a piece of trash? For some reason, this video game is $30. This is a $30 loose video game on the Game Boy. And for some reason, if you have the box, it's worth $50. This game probably cost $30 when it launched. It wasn't even worth buying then. Like, at some point, the fact that something is old and that you played it as a kid shouldn't be a determination of its value as a video game. Like, I swear, like, if this were just, like, a generic... Like, if this weren't called Mortal Kombat, no one would give this game the time of day. But, you know, because it's sort of a known quantity, people feel the need to defend it, or they're like, if you're 10, you're a lot more charitable than, say, an adult like me would be playing this game for the first time. Now, is this game worse than Raging Fighter? I would say yes, but like I sit here and pretend that Raging Fighter is a fantastic video game. Raging Fighter had better music. Raging Fighter's not good, but at least there's more variation between the characters than in this game. Although you could argue the pace of this game's a lot better. That might be one thing in its favor, as I realize. I know she can actually shoot that in midair. That! This is Melina, not Katana. So who has the aerial punch? I can never remember. No, she has the roll. Okay, she has the roll, which is basically a slide. You can get under any fireball with that roll. So there is that. It's a body projectile attack, but it's a roll, so it gets under fireballs. There are slides in Street Fighter 2, but there are no, like, body projectiles that'll take you underneath a fireball. Yeah, like, Blanca and E Honda and Chun-Li couldn't go under or over fireballs. No, Chun-Li did have an aerial, she had an aerial helicopter that she could actually do if she was bouncing off the wall. Okay, she got me. Yeah. So edgy. Though not as... Who was it? One of the bikini ninjas ripped off her mask and there was like a reptile underneath, which I guess was the joke. It was literally a butterface joke in a Mortal Kombat game. But that was in the modern ones. That was in the 21st century Mortal Kombat. I don't think it was in the original batch. I mean, I remember from the in the USA Network show, the animated series, she and Liu Kang were a thing apparently, and she just had a normal human face. Although I think her sister did show up in one of the episodes. I don't remember. It was Olivia Diabo from Wonder Years, right? She was the voice of Katana, wasn't she? Was it Melina? No, Katana was in the animated show. I don't remember if Melina was in it. Which admittedly was... Oh, no, that's right. Sonya was in that show too, obviously. Sonya's not in this game. I guess because they couldn't palette swap with a bunch of other bikini ninjas. Yeah, make her a bikini ninja, and you can put Sonya in this game. Because that's why Katana and Melina are in here. They're basically the same character. They just have slightly different move sets. Yeah, the bicycle kick is you have to hold down the kick button for like 3 to 5 seconds and release it. Which is the kind of thing that I would almost never do in a regular fight unless you hold down the button and throw in some fireballs and then release the fireball. But again, why do you need a bicycle kick if you have a flying kick? Whatever. Maybe there's a slight, the flying kick floats downward, I think, and the bicycle kick doesn't. But even then, and again, you can't vary the speed of the fireball, and you can't vary the speed of the flying kick. The fireball is the knockback, and you can follow it up with a flying kick to knock the guy down. But they're both basically the same speed, right? Like, you can't, this isn't like in Street Fighter 2 where you can, make a fast fireball, a slower fireball, and, one in between in terms of speed. Like, the speed and the distance of the projectile would vary depending on the strength of the button you use to launch it. There was none of that in this game. You can vary the height of the fireball. It's harder to do in this game because there is no low punch buttons. There are no high or low kicks in this game. It's just either a generic punch, a generic kick, and I think you crouch to do a variant of those. But it's weird because you saw me do the uppercut multiple times. You saw me do the sweep multiple times. I think it's kind of like Tekken on the Game Boy Advance. I think it's just a capitulation to the idea that you only had 4 buttons to work with, and one of those was for pausing. So what are you gonna do? And again, you had to have a block button in this game. So what are you gonna do? And I want to say they released Street Fighter 2 on the Game Boy. Again, why? Again, Ian Malcolm. No one listens to Ian Malcolm. When the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists. But no one listens to Ian Malcolm. So yes, so let's pretend. Okay, so again, Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy was trash. But it probably sold 500,000 copies. It probably sold 1 million copies. Every version of Mortal Kombat sold something. The Game Gear version probably sold 250,000 copies. But again, consoles that had no business playing this game got ports. If the NES was, there's probably a bootleg Mortal Kombat port that got made in Taiwan or something on the Famicom. I know there was a Street Fighter 2 bootleg, which is about as good as you'd probably expect. Some games you knew they just could not do on the Game Boy. I think this was one of them. But the pacing of the game is better than you might expect. But, the collision detection is not great. The controls require too much the controls require a bit too much fiddling. You have to fiddle around with the controls too much to actually get the moves to come out. But it's surprisingly spry for a Game Boy game. Again, it should not have been made. And of course, playing it on a TV is way better than trying to play it on a spinach green screen with poor contrast and blurriness. But this game was never going to be good. It was always going to be surprisingly competent for the console, given all the limitations. I almost sort of feel they should have done a Double Dragon thing. They should have just conceded that we can't make the game, so maybe we could make a variant on that game where it's a side scroller or something, like a Mortal Kombat Mythologies. Just concede we aren't going to be able to make the game. So the only way to make it good is to not do the game, but use the sprites for a game that has similar mechanics to Mortal Kombat. Maybe no block button. But imagine having a 2D Metroidvania, I guess, with boss fights that are kind of like Mortal Kombat. That could be interesting. But just trying to do Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy is a complete and utter waste of time and resources and mental space. It's an academic exercise. And more blood will be spilled and more brain matter will be melted just trying to pick apart all the things that they were somehow able to cram into this cartridge while conceding that they never should have done it in the first place. But yeah, I mean, Pro probably needed to. They had maybe a little extra time left over. Like they had a few extra resources from all the Mortal Kombat money they probably earned from Acclaim. The Genesis version was considered the definitive version, if only because it had all the fatalities. In other words, although it played better than the Super Nintendo version, apparently, the input lag was apparently lower. The animation was apparently faster. So, in terms of gameplay was probably the better version, I've been told. I played the Genesis version, maybe for half an hour at a friend's house once. I was not impressed by it. And then we stopped playing it, and we started playing Ranma. We started playing Ranma 1/2, the Japanese version, not the Americanized version they made. What was that called? Street Combat? Yeah, they took Ranma 1/2, they localized it. Okay, that was a nice fake suplex they were trying to do. So it was not Mortal Kombat. It was Street Combat was the American version of Ranma 1/2, and we played Ranma 1/2. And I don't remember it being good. I just remember being Shampoo and Moose being in it. But again, I have no nostalgia for any version of Mortal Kombat, especially not the Genesis version, especially not this version. But I will admit, it plays faster than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be an absolute mess. It's still bad. Is it a C- or a D+? Since the pacing of the game, the controls are better than I expected, so I guess I give it a C-. It's not an F. It's not a failure. It's not like Mortal Kombat 1, but it's just why? Just why? Well, to make money, obviously. And like I said, someone's going to buy this game and they're going to get $15 for it because that's how much it's probably worth at this point. Yeah, the price of this game skyrocketed around 2020. I guess someone thought they could make money off someone's childhood, and they were right. And again, anyone who spent... I got this as part of a bundle of Game Boy games that cost me $10. So I got this, Super Mario Land, The Flash, WWF Superstars, and I think one other game. F1 Race. Are any of these games any good? I'm going to say no. Mario Land's okay. Haven't played The Flash yet. We'll get around to that. Play Action Football's trash. Space Invaders is what it is. It's Space Invaders. Korth seems okay. I got to play more of Korth. So I will play more of Korth later, but most of these games are just trash. So yeah, Mortal Kombat 2 on the Game Boy is garbage. But for some reason, it's very expensive. Recorded this with my triple driver iMore headphones plugged into my MPOW USB capture device. The game footage is from an original Super Nintendo, the original yellowing Super Nintendo, with a Super Game Boy cartridge, with the Mortal Kombat 2 cartridge. Composite video is plugged into my Atrix RCA to HDMI converter, which is capturing this at 720p. The Vivitar USB dongle is low latency, and it's capturing this into my quad-core Windows 11 laptop using the Windows 11 camera app at 60 frames a second. I hope. I forgot to check. That's okay. Let's pretend we need a higher frame rate to play this game. Yeah, this thing's trash. I'm calling it.